The most daunting aspect of Hydrocraft is the immense amount of recipes that are introduced to the game when you install the mod. You can see all the recipes by going to the crafting menu, and you find that by going to this hammer and edge ruler here on the top left-hand side of the screen. Clicking on that brings up the crafting menu. Now the crafting menu has a lot of different tabs at the top. Unfortunately, these are not alphabetized. They're based on when you discover a particular recipe. So I pretty much discovered a recipe in survivalist first, then car, then farming, then cooking, and so on. Most of the vanilla recipes are going to be here in the general tab, as well as a lot of Hydrocraft related items that are included, such as like an umbrella, closing and opening an umbrella, and some other things as well that are related to just Hydrocraft, like hanging a sandbag on a stand, all that good stuff. Now, each one of these categories, I'm not going to go over every single one because that would just take way too long. This video is going to be overly complicated and convoluted as it is. But you can kind of go through each one of these and just kind of look at, you know, what I mean. Obviously, there's some stuff that you would expect. Cooking has a ton of stuff. Carpentry has a pretty good amount of stuff too. But the way this menu works is on the left-hand side, or the top left-hand side, is the name filter. So let's just take an easy example, and we'll go to carpentry and we'll type in bench. As expected, the list on the left-hand side is going to filter out everything that doesn't have the word bench in it. So the only two that are left are the carpentry bench and the workbench. Even though this is a part of a word, it still picks it up, which is really nice. On the left portion of the screen here, you're going to see all your different recipes. So clicking on that will bring up all of the items that are used to make that particular recipe. So planks, nails, sturdy sticks, hammer and saw. Doesn't really tell you if you're going to keep these items or not, but you can probably figure it out on your own. Obviously, the planks, nails, and sturdy sticks are going to get consumed, where the hammer and saw are going to stay in your inventory and not get destroyed. Hopefully, there are some there's a lot of bugs, and we're going to go over one of them today. I'm going to show you how to fix one too. So here are all the different items used for this particular recipe. Now take close attention to the bottom though. And in a lot of these recipes, you're going to see a requirement. So for this one, I need a carpentry of 4. Now, for most everything related to Hydrocraft, there's going to be some sort of skill requirement to it. Now, the skills that I like to go with before I even start doing anything in Hydrocraft, and I'm going to list them all out, and there's going to be some text right here too. But what's funny about Hydrocraft is that you actually play the base game for quite a long time. Like in my playthrough that I did for Linda Hall and her adventures, I only started doing Hydrocraft related stuff about 6-7 months into the game. Everything before that was just base Project Zomboid, which is great because you get the same game and it just adds to it linearly. Not like you're not forced to use the Hydrocraft stuff while you're learning, you know, all you need to learn to be able to do this stuff. That's really nice, so that, you know, the folks that, because for me, I never used to play this game modded. Now I'm really happy with it because I still get the base game, and then I can go on to do bigger and better things after I've, you know, I would basically have gotten bored at that point with the base game, because I'm like, all right, I built everything, I got a base, I got farming, I got cooking, I'm set for life. But anyways, the skills that I like to go with before I even jump into Hydrocraft is carpentry 10, cooking 10, farming 10. First aid should really be at 6 if you want to make everything regarding first aid. Electrical needs to be around 8, and metalworking doesn't really have any correlative skills with Hydrocraft. It seems that metalworking and Hydrocraft came around the same time. I know metalworking came out first, but then you can see all the stuff that people were working on were more akin to there not being a skill here called metalworking. You can even see that when you look at some of the books, like there's a smithing set of books that really isn't implemented at all. So the smithing books does absolutely nothing for you at this point in time, but I think they were building something to make a metalworking type skill. The other 2 skills you need to pay attention to is trapping. So you need at least a trapping of 5 to be able to ranch, to either ranch or hunt, because now there is a requirement for trapping when it comes to ranching. So let me just donkey. So track lost donkeys has a requirement of 5 trapping now. So that's new. I think that was implemented in late June of 2017. The other thing to take close attention to is your maintenance skills for both blade and blunt. Most of the smithing related items that you can make has some sort of a maintenance requirement to it, including the smithy hammers, which is the most important. You need at least 2 blunt maintenance to be able to build any of the smithy hammers. Even if it's a titanium smithy hammer, it still only requires 2 maintenance. So make sure to get your blunt maintenance up to 2 before attempting even any of the smithing related activities. So unfortunately, it doesn't really tell you which maintenance skill, but you can kind of eyeball it. I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. I'm making a great bronze sword, or bronze greatsword here, and it's just telling me a maintenance of 6. You can easily assume that this is a maintenance or blade here. So blade maintenance, mine is 10. And then if you were to look at Warhammer, you can see that there's a maintenance 6 here, and that's probably pertaining to blunt. The other really important skill to get up before you even start doing any Hydrocraft related recipes is foraging. Now foraging has a lot of different applications. The best example is the mine over here. The higher your foraging skill, the more rare resources you're going to get from the mine. If you look at the code, you can see that foraging is adding to some sort of random number generator that allows you to get at some of the better items. So now that we have an understanding of kind of how the crafting window works, we're going to get into the deep part. Now this is Johnny-O level nerdiness here, guys, so bear with me. This is gonna help you figure out exactly how to find each of these recipes and to figure out what items you need for each recipe. Now the first layer is what I would call the game layer. Now what I mean by layers is there's going to be multiple layers that you're going to have to go through to find a particular item. If you're lucky, you're going to find it in the game layer, which is the crafting window here. So for instance, let's say that we're looking to build a steam machine. Now the steam machine recipe has changed and it is currently bugged. We're going to fix the bug here in this video right here and now, because I actually didn't need to build the new version of the steam machine because I had built one before the update came out. But let's just go ahead and go through the paces of what we need to find, or what we would need to use to figure out how to make a steam machine. Now let's just say we don't know that the steam machine is an engineer here. And you're going, okay, where is the steam machine? So you can either find out the category there's multiple ways to find the category. You can either do kind of the trial and error version, which is just going to each category and going steam. Well, you're gonna make some educated guesses, obviously. You're not just gonna go like, I think steam machines and cooking. But let's just go, let's say, maybe it's in electrical. No? Maybe it's in smithing? No. Maybe it's in metalworking? No. Well, that is an engine, so it should be in the engineer tab. So that's one way of kind of finding it. The other way is by using the second layer, which was what I would call the wiki layer. If you head on over to undeniable.info/pz/wiki, and I'll put this link in the description below so that you don't have to look for it, you're gonna find a really insanely awesome wiki. Now this has everything regarding Hydrocraft in here. Unfortunately, it is a little bit out of date. I mean, sometimes they're out of date by months. So for most of the stuff that's been in it since the last, I would say 2 or 3 months, it's going to be in there. But anything that's just recent, which includes the steam machine, you're not going to be able to find it in here. So for instance, let's go ahead and pull up steam machine here. And we're going to see the difference in the recipe right here now. So here you go. Here is the recipe that's in the wiki. You can see that he used a thermocouple, some wood beams, some other stuff. If we go into the game, you'll notice that the recipe is completely different now. So the wiki is out of date. But what it does give you, it does give you the category of the item that you're looking for. So that's another way of kind of figuring out, you know, what category a particular item is in. So given that this wiki is out of date, we need to head on to the next layer, which is the file system layer. Now, this is where it's going to start to get a little bit confusing. I apologize. But let's go ahead and pull up the folder. So the folder you're going to be looking for is this one here, which is in your Steam library, Steam apps, workshop, content, 10.8.600, 498, 441, 420, mods, and Hydrocraft. So this may be different. I don't know if this is some sort of encryption that Steam puts in, but start looking through these different numbers, and this is where they put all the mod or the workshop related stuff in your kind of Steam configuration. So once you're in Hydrocraft, there are two folders that I tend to use quite a bit. You go into media, and then there's the folder scripts. Now this is where all of the recipes are added into the game, and then some of the functions are added into Lua and server. So you can see there's a lot of scripts in here too that have to do with, like for instance, if I wanted to look at the code for, you know, finding stuff while sifting dirt or going through the mine, you can easily see that the foraging, the plant scavenging is the code word for foraging when using the code. But you can see here's like the random number generator that's generated when finding all the different items in a mine. So once you get to this folder, now what I tend to do is then I'll take the folder and then I'll copy it, and then I'm going to pull up a command prompt. Now you do that by hitting Windows key R, and you get the run window here, and then you just type in CMD. So once you're in the command window here, you can then just do CD and then copy paste the guy that you've copied from your file system here, and then just head to the particular folder or the particular drive that you're looking to, or that your Steam folder is at. And now you're in that particular folder that you're looking at. So let's go to media and then go to scripts. So we're looking to build a Steam machine. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna do a find string. And then I like putting arguments in here, /i for there not to be any case sensitive searching, as well as /l to give me the line inside of the text file. Then you do quotations for the item that you're looking for, so Steam machine, and then you do ***, so it searches all of the text files that are in this scripts folder here, which, as you saw earlier, is where all the recipes are at, like this. So here we go, we got Steam machine. We're gonna get a lot of stuff because we're using the player visible name for it. So it's gonna take both words, Steam as well as machine, and give me a huge listing. So what you're gonna be looking for is you're gonna look for the item declaration. So here's item Steam engine, and right here is what we're looking for, item HC Steam machine. So it's in the industrial.txt. So we want to head on over back to our file system and go to industrial. And then do a search for Steam machine. The first thing you're going to find is the item declaration here. So item, and here is the code name for this particular item. So HC Steam machine, all one word. And the display name is what the player sees. So you want to keep searching until you get to the recipe. So here we can also see that the game or the recipe is different than the one that we see in the wiki. So it requires this HC furnace iron, HC steam engine, HC steam boiler, and all this stuff that we're kind of expecting to be able to build a Steam machine. And so this is where it starts to get even more hairy, guys. So the problem is that if we go to, so this is like an iron furnace, right? So let's search for the iron furnace. Go ahead and copy that. And then we'll go here. So here's the iron furnace. If we go back to the wiki and go to iron furnace, unfortunately, there's no iron furnace in here. So even the components for the Steam machine are not known by the wiki. So now that we're in the right spot, we can see what is required of us for this iron furnace. So we can go back to the game now, and let's just take a look at the category. The category is engineer, and we're gonna go iron furnace. Oh, look at that. We don't have the recipe. So now, I'm going through this very slowly, but it is very complicated, but I'm kind of going through a path of if someone was looking to build a particular item. So an easy example would be like a wagon, or maybe like a kiln or something like that. So this is the path that I would take if I was, if there were to be something new added to the game that's not on the wiki. So the best thing to do is, now that you know the name of what you're looking to build, you're gonna want to see if it's in the books area as well. So you can, I like doing it from the command line just so that I don't waste any time. So iron furnace. Oops. So what I wanna do is I wanna do books.text here. So it's giving me, the only problem with this is that it says it's iron and then it's furnace. So I'm gonna look through this and see if I can find iron furnace, but as you can see, it'd probably be easy to do it from the file system. So let's go to books and then do a search for furnace. So this is the make blast furnace, build industrial furnace. Oh, and there's nothing else. So I know this is a weird example to use for a tutorial, but I also wanted to teach you of whether or not something was bugged as well. So what we've done so far is we looked into the crafting window to see what we're looking for. We're not finding anything here. We looked at the wiki. There's nothing here. We've looked in the command line, and it sounds like there's stuff going on here, but you're not really sure. And when we go in the file system and look in the books, we still can't find it because it's bugged. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna fix the furnace so that we can actually see it. So we're gonna go to the industrial book. And this will probably get fixed once Hydromancer sees this video and goes, hey, why'd you have to pick one that's what's bugged? Well, what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go into the industrial. So this is book welding. So let's go into industrial. That, for me, that would make the most sense. And we're gonna do iron furnace. All right, and then make sure to put a comma at the end, semicolon between different items, and then a comma to end the line. And then we're gonna go ahead and restart the game. We're gonna save this. And then close it. And then I'm gonna go ahead and close the game, and then we'll restart it and be right back. All right, so now that we're back in the game, let's go ahead and take a look at that industrial book. So now, as you can see, at the very bottom of the list of all the recipes that are out of this book, you can see that iron furnace has been added, and it now says that the book has been unread. So we're gonna read it now. So now that we've read the book, we're gonna go ahead and type in iron furnace in here, and here it is. So now this has the recipe. There's no skill requirement for this. So now I know how to build at least one of the components of the steam machine. So I'm probably now gonna have to go into all the other components and do the same thing, where I make sure that there's a book, and I make sure that there's a recipe, and then I know exactly where the recipe is at within the crafting window here. So let's go ahead and roll it down then. I know that was a lot, so I'm gonna tell you exactly. So let's go ahead and do a rundown here. The first thing to use, the first layer, is the crafting window, which you can then use to kind of search for what you're looking for. The second layer is the wiki for what you're looking for. Let's just say honey buns. I love honey buns. This is the best. Cooked tray of honey buns. So you can use that to find out a recipe. If you're not finding what you're looking for, then it's time to dive deep into the file system. So you can do that by going to the file structure here and go to media scripts, and then look for what you're looking, or find what you're looking for by using the command line. So if I was looking for honey buns, I can then type in that command, and I'll find all the different script files that have honey and buns in the description. You can even do kind of a refined search by if you were to find the actual name of it. So like honey bun cooked, you just highlight that, hit enter, and then refine your search by putting that in. So I know it's in the food pastry file. So I go to food pastry and then search for honey bun. Honey bun dough, honey bun cooked. There we go. So those are all the different ways that I search for items and search for recipes hopefully this video has helped. This is a very complicated, you're having to get into the code of, or the code of the scripts that are used to actually add all these different recipes to with Hydrocraft. But hopefully that video helped. If you have any questions, which I know you will, I'll either make another video or a more refined video, or I'll answer your questions in the comment section below. Alrighty folks, thanks a lot. See you in the next episode.